Let's go ahead. Okay, so we're going to say bye to Frayne. Bye, Frayne Selleck. He's like, bye. And then we notice he talks into his comm and he's like, let the Tal Shiar know that the Romulans will... He's a Star Trek character. It's a Star Trek name. But anyways, we'll leave the Star Trek Romulan infiltrator behind, but we hop into the Carpenter copter. We're on our way to Hollywood, the land of glitz and glamour. Everything's beautiful in Hollywood. Everything's... I have a friend who went to Hollywood to be an actor, and I go, how are the women down there? And he looks at me like I'm an idiot. He's like, how do you think, dude? They're all gorgeous. And I was like, yeah, I guess that was kind of a self-answering question. But anyway, so, hey, Jonas, if you listen to the show. So, we are in the Carpenter copter. Now, we do have to make a quick stop. I gotta get some AM PM hamburgers because I love those gas station burgers. Oh, wait, I'm on keto. Damn it. I just have to fly over the MPM and be like, damn it. We fly over. But we gotta be careful. We're gonna put on stealth mode. Not super stealthy. But because we know the CIA is listening to a very intriguing phone call. Marilyn Monroe, famous movie actress, singer, I think she was in some musicals. She had been sleeping with both the President of the United States and his brother, Attorney General Robert Kennedy. I don't think I could share a woman with my brother. Maybe Marilyn Monroe, but I don't think so. So anyways, or Britney Spears, but no, that's gross, dude. They'd be getting all DNA mixed up and stuff in there. Anyway, so that aside, Marilyn Monroe was sleeping with both President Kennedy and Attorney General Bobby Kennedy. But they had kind of ghosted her at this point. They were like, nah, we don't want to talk to you anymore. And she was starting to lose her luster in Hollywood. Marilyn Monroe was no longer the big star that she had used to be. August 3rd, 1962. There was a phone call that the CIA recorded, because CIA had Marilyn Monroe's phone tapped, because they knew she knew stuff about President Kennedy and Robert Kennedy. And they had the phones tapped of Marilyn Monroe's friends. Now, that's the thing. Whenever people talk about conspiracies and they're like, whoa, that's not true. That we find bits and pieces of true conspiracies here and there. There's the conspiracy that Marilyn Monroe didn't commit suicide, that she was murdered. People are like, what? No, that's no way. She had all these drugs in her system. Only people who commit suicide do that. There's no assassin would make you take drugs. But then we have recordings of phone call. We know her phone was being tapped. In this wiretap, which was found during a Freedom of Information Act request, it is regarding a conversation between a reporter, Dorothy Kilgallen, and her close friend, Howard Rothberg. And I believe that when they're saying her close friend, they're referring to Marilyn Monroe's close friend. Government talk isn't always the most specific. I'm going to read this to you. This is an actual CIA document. Rothberg discussed the apparent comeback of subject with Marilyn Monroe, with Kilgallen, and the breakup with the Kennedys. Rothberg told Kilgallen that she was attending Hollywood parties hosted by, quote-unquote, inner circle among Hollywood's elite, and was becoming the talk of the town again. Rothberg indicated in so many words that she has secrets to tell, no doubt arising from her trysts with the President and the Attorney General. One such secret, and what's weird, secrets in air quotes, secrets in quotations there. One such quote-unquote secret mentions the visit by the President. So before I get on to the next part, the CIA is listening in on this phone call. And Marilyn Monroe's friend is talking to a reporter. And he's like, yeah, she's making the rounds in Hollywood. She's really trying to get herself back out there. She's talking to the high and mighty, the elite in Hollywood. She's trying to get back into show business. CIA agent's like, listening to it. This is the next part that comes out. And this is what the CIA agent typed up. This is their official report. One such secret mentions the visit by the President at a secret airbase for the purpose of inspecting things from outer space. Kilgallen replied that she knew what might be the source of visit. In the mid-50s, Kilgallen learned of secret effort by US and UK governments to identify the origins of crashed spacecraft and dead bodies from a British government official. Kilgallen believed the story may have come from the New Mexico story in the late 40s. Kilgallen said if the story is true, it would cause terrible embarrassment for Jack and his plans to have NASA put men on the moon. So you have this conversation between Marilyn Monroe's friend saying, Hey, she wants to get back into show business. Yeah, she also told me this weird story, how the president went out to some secret base and to go look at stuff from outer space. And the reporter goes, I know a little bit something about that. I talked to a British official a couple years ago, back in the 50s, and he told me that we have been in contact with a small race of beings, and we believe that they crashed at some place in New Mexico, I don't remember, and we're worried that they may be some sort of problem. Dorothy Kilgallen is a reporter, but she's known as a gossip columnist as well. She reported the findings of the UFO of the British guy. That was from back in the... So that story that she had written was from 1955. So it was a good 7 years before this meeting. She had written up in this gossip column basically saying that the British government has encountered a UFO. They don't know what it is. They actually have the wreckage, and they know the bodies like they're little tiny people and all that stuff. Stuff that we commonly know as grays. Now, there's two separate statements. One is someone who's close to Marilyn Monroe saying, Marilyn Monroe says that the president said he went to a base and went to go see things from outer space. And then the reporter interjects, oh, I know what you're talking about. I know a guy who believes aliens are here. She never named the name of the British official, which, I mean, can be a sign of deception, or it can also be a sign that the guy doesn't want to be called a kook. So, what in the world are we supposed to glean from this CIA document? There's so much weird stuff in this, because if JFK is willing to tell Marilyn Monroe about the secret trip, and if he did see aliens, she would know that as well. She would have revealed that to her friend, or would she? Kilgallen, who did do a story on aliens back in the 50s talking to an unnamed British official, she kind of threw in her own 2 cents. But even if we knew that there was aliens out there, why would she make the final phrase? It would cause a terrible embarrassment for Jack and his plans to have NASA put men on the moon. Why would it be embarrassing because our technology was so limited? Would it be embarrassing because it wouldn't work because the aliens would destroy it? Now, at this time, Yuri Gagarin has already floated around space. Like, Russians had already launched the first manned space capsule. He orbited and came down normally. There was a theory that JFK visiting the objects from outer space was actually remains of Soviet technology that had shot up into space and fell down. I don't really know if that washes with this, because that would also be something Marilyn Monroe would be like, if JFK told Marilyn Monroe this stuff, she could say, yeah, he went and saw some space junk from the Ruskies, but it's so vague to see things from outer space. And to make it even more puzzling, this isn't the whole report. There's a single page from the CIA that includes that story, and then phone taps from Marilyn Monroe's own phone, where she was calling up Bobby Kennedy, calling up JFK's brother. This is what, again, it's not the exact transcript, it's what the CIA notes say. Marilyn Monroe repeatedly called the Attorney General and complained about the way she was being ignored by the president and his brother. Marilyn Monroe threatened to hold a press conference and would tell all. Marilyn Monroe made reference to bases in Cuba and knew of the president's plan to kill Castro. Marilyn Monroe made reference to her diary of secrets and what the newspaper would do with such disclosures. Now, it makes sense that they don't say exactly what that is because the CIA doesn't want to put that information. It's information that they know, and they don't want to put it in a report. 2 days after that memo was created, Marilyn Monroe was found dead. Suicide. Drug overdose. Again, if the CIA was completely covering up the existence of UFOs, would they have included that first part in the document? They could have redacted it, so we would have never seen it. The fact that they leave in the part about the bases and the plot to kill Castro, we know about that. So it would make sense that that part wasn't redacted. I mean, it's a mind-boggler because you have this document that really makes it look like she was ready to release all this information. We don't know what it is. We can assume that when she says she's going to tell all, that it relates to UFOs and ETs and all this stuff. Or it could just be, I'm going to tell him you have a tiny dick. We don't know exactly what the conversation was and what she was threatening to reveal. I think just this document alone makes it look like she was murdered to cover up her from blabbing her mouth. And pro tip, don't run your mouth. And second pro tip, if you're going to, don't tell anyone you're going to. Ever. Because this is what happens. But her threatening, we hear her words to Bobby Kennedy saying, this is what I'm going to do. This second conversation is all hearsay. It's two people repeating what another person has been told. Did Marilyn Monroe know about the UFOs? Was Marilyn Monroe killed to cover up something, and possibly that something being alien life? There's a third possibility, that this document is fake. We don't really have a provenance on the CIA document. It's turned up in someone else's collection. I believe you can order it yourself, but until I do, I can't say for sure that it's 100% accurate. But other people have vouched for it. I mean, UFOologists, so I don't, take it with a grain of salt. They're saying that the CIA has never specifically denied that this document is fake. And it was this weird thing where someone said, I want the actual transcripts released. And the answer was kind of like, well, you already have that. So in a roundabout way, and I'm really shortening the little legal battle that went on, but in a roundabout way, it's been confirmed to be accurate, but we don't know. It could easily be a forgery. I did read an interesting thing, and they said, this guy goes, I've read a lot of forgeries in my life about UFO stuff. And he goes, if this was a forgery, this is how I think they would have done it. They would have said, Marilyn Monroe said that she saw aliens and she saw a flying disc, and they always hype it up. When you're making a forgery for the UFO community, you make it even more hype and make it really throw some green men. Yeah, put the Pleiadians in there. They make it more sensational. And he goes, this one's actually doesn't seem like a hoax just because it's so down to earth. It's very vague. He goes, they never actually even really use the word alien or UFO in it. If it's real, if this is a real document, that's really creepy. These phone calls are being recorded 2 days before she dies. That's a really big coincidence. But who knows? I always thought that I always figured Marilyn Monroe was killed, honestly. That's a conspiracy theory I believe in, that she didn't commit suicide. I've always believed in that. But I always thought she got killed because she knew too much, or she got too deep in the mob, or something like that. I never would have thought she knew anything about flying saucers. But according to this document, if it's real, she knew something. And what she knew may have sent her to the grave. That was a clip from our daily podcast, Dead Rabbit Radio. Dead Rabbit Radio is available anywhere that you listen to podcasts. It's daily paranormal, conspiracy, and true crime news. If you want to hear the full episode that this clip came from, check the link below. Please like and subscribe. And hit that little bell, too. That does some magical stuff. Thanks, guys.